The life participation approach to aphasia is structured around 5 core values that serve as guides to assessment, intervention, and research. Here is the 5th core value. Services are needed at all stages of aphasia. The person with aphasia needs intervention from the first minute through each stage of recovery and for the rest of their life. At each stage, the goals and methods of intervention change. In the beginning, they need to understand what has happened to them and what aphasia is. Those who are close need to know how they can communicate differently so that the person with aphasia can engage in conversations immediately. As they move through the rehabilitation process and then home into the community, specific life participation goals will evolve, but support will always be needed in some fashion. It is never too late or too early to help. Let's hear from people who have aphasia and their loved ones about what has helped at each stage of their recovery. Helping in the early days. People with aphasia tell us about how they first learned about their aphasia. We can do a better job of providing them with timely information and support from day one.
1986, I had a stroke, and what we're talking about is no one told me I had aphasia, and you know, it's amazing. I went to the doctors, regardless of which one it was always the same. I had a stroke, I had a stroke, I had a stroke. And all this time I had it, the aphasia, I never knew. And even that, 1924, I went to Aphasia, Adler's Aphasia Center, and that's when I found out.
We didn't hear the word aphasia until the at-home therapist. Nobody gave us the hope of even the word aphasia.
I'm sure it would have been nice if somebody had come one-to-one and had a conversation with me, explain aphasia, explain my particular set of aphasia. Was I going to speak again or not? What did I feel I needed? I don't think nobody asked me that question. What did I feel I needed? It would have been helpful, immensely helpful, if they had said, what do you feel you need and how can we do that? And set up a plan for, when I was discharged, how I was going to do this, the day-to-day things. Nobody talked about that.
Helping in the rehabilitation process. Therapy in the rehabilitation phase focuses on the language impairment, but must also include the important aspects of one's environment, knowledge of all staff and family for 24/7 participation, and personal factors like one's life role as a family member or community member. To help prepare our patients to leave therapy, all of these considerations need to be incorporated into the rehabilitation program as well.
When you were talking to somebody that didn't know you were still smart, how did it go?
I don't know.
So were you able to tell them what you needed?
No.
So what did that impact your care?
Yes.
So Anne, your nurses, how well did they understand your challenges? About a 2?
Yeah. Yes. Pictures. Definitely pictures. Written words. Yes, written words. And time. Oh, time. Oh,
Did nurses talk directly to you? Did you understand them? And did they understand you?
Not at first. Everyone assumed I wasn't there. They spoke to my husband about me. Some people still do. I remember my very first speech therapist, and I remember how relieved I felt when she taught me how to communicate my needs by blinking as she recited the alphabet. It was glorious. I could finally say I need more water or I have an itch. Actually, I had a quick sign for scratch my nose. I would cross my eyes, but it took forever for everyone to learn how to communicate with me in that way. So I had to rely on blinking yes and no. And very little has a yes and no answer.
Did other people understand that you were still smart?
Oh no, that took a while. Most people assume because I am very physically handicapped that I am also mentally handicapped. My family usually gave an introduction and explanation to people that have to communicate with me. I remember they were surprised when I tested well. They didn't expect me to be in there, I guess.
If you could offer hospital workers some advice, what would it be?
Assume competence.
Helping at home and in the community. The goals of the person with aphasia will change as they come home and begin to resume their roles, responsibilities, activities, and relationships. Therapeutic interventions need to continually elicit and discuss the person's needs and the needs of those in their social networks. Full life participation can be achieved with creative solutions that incorporate the desired outcomes.
When we learned about the Aphasia Center and that he can come 3 days a week and stay 3/4 of a day, that is huge. I mean, to see him get up in the morning with a smile on his face, knowing where he's going, to come here, the staff, the volunteers, the other clients, he loves them. And then when I get home in the evening, another big smile is on his face, and he's got stories to tell me of things that they did or, something funny that happened. So it's wonderful.
The life participation philosophy of service supports the person with aphasia to engage in chosen social and individual activities, to receive services, and to set their own immediate and long-term life goals. The Americans with Disabilities Act requires that physical and communication access be provided for individuals with aphasia and other disabilities to access programs and services. Communication interventions are needed from the first day of acquiring aphasia and throughout all the stages of life.